Hello and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good people of the tube. Hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. I have not been up long, but I had to. I was lying in bed, and it's early, but I was lying in bed this morning, and that jam was in my head. And it was the whole idea of changing key with the jam, and I had to play my jag on it. So I got out of bed, half asleep, and played half asleep, and I'm still half asleep, so this could be quite amusing. So anyway, hello everybody, welcome to A&Q Wednesday, and let's get to question one, shall we? I think we shall. Okay, so question one today is, do you have, or ever had, or have you, great start Dave, give yourself a sweet. Do you have, or have you ever had a guitar that by all accounts should not be a good playing guitar, but just is? Yeah, I mean, quite a lot of my guitars are kind of like classed as bad guitars. You know, my amp, one of my favourite amps, the Marshall MG, is classed as one of the worst amps ever made. But it's not. You know, I used to have an Encore. I reviewed it, I don't know how many years ago. I had a blue Encore Strat copy, and it was a stunning guitar. Absolutely amazing. You know, I've played other guitars, and I have other guitars that, you know, the Tysco guitar that's hung on the wall there, the Strat-looking one that I think you can just about see. Yeah, just next to the acoustic. Just next to, well, it's kind of next to behind Charlie. Those kind of guitars, they shouldn't play well because of what they are. They're not designed to last, but they're amazing. And yeah, I mean, I've got loads of amps and pedals and guitars that technically, you know, on paper, shouldn't be any good, you know, and I like that, you know, I like that. I like the fact that my Marshall MG is classed as like one of the worst amps ever made. You know, it's got slated for years and years and years. I've always loved it. I mean, it's my longest mainstay amp ever. You know, the MG is. I always come back to it. You know, I mean, I love the CL120. I love the Boss Katana. I love like PV Bandits and stuff like that. But I always come back to the MG because that's where I started. You know, that was my first, my first ever amp was a PV Rage, and then I went to a Carlsberg GLX 100, combo, single 12-inch combo. But as soon as I got a Marshall MG half stack, that was me. You know what I mean? And it still kind of very much kind of like helped me find what I want out of an amp. You know, it gave me that sound that I was looking for. And it still does, and it always, you know, I don't think it ever won't, you know what I mean? So I love the MGs, you know. I definitely prefer the look of them looking like that. But, you know, on paper, the MG is classed as a bad amp, or a beginner amp, or just not a very, you know, just crap in general, and it's just not. You know, but, you know, I do. I mean, I've got loads of things. The Zoom G2 is another thing that I own. Guitar-wise, yeah, I mean, I have guitars that technically should be, you know, that's a lot of people who kind of, well, not a lot of people, but quite a few people I would say would look down on and go, no, you know, but I love them, you know, nonetheless. The Batacaster being one. The Batacaster is a guitar I miss, actually, being here. I really miss that guitar. I love that guitar, and I'm happy to know it's safe. I know where it is, and I like that. Yeah, Batacaster's a guitar I miss, and when I get to see it again, I'll be very happy, little bunny. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guitars I'll be happy to see again. My Squier Bullet, which I've left at home as well, which again is another. In all fairness, if I knew I'd had this much room, I would have bought more stuff, but I didn't. I didn't know how much space I would have, so I had to be. This is me being minimalist, everybody. But yeah, so you know, I just try to kind of like yeah, bring as little as possible, but no, I mean, I do have a lot of things that kind of like, you know, on paper shouldn't be a good guitar, shouldn't be a good amp, shouldn't be a good pedal, but is, you know, and it's not uncommon. But I think it's that kind of weird. I don't like to use the word snobbery because I think that's the overly harsh word for it, and I don't want to say narrow-minded or closed-minded again because I think that's really harsh. But it's just that unwillingness to kind of like look at things for what they are instead of kind of like what people say they are sometimes, you know what I mean? Like if somebody says like, you know, oh, Squier Bullets are crap, you know, somebody says that, and because it's cheap, it's a beginner guitar and it's no good. it can get into some people's heads that, yeah, it's rubbish, and then they stick by that because they've been told that. But and the thing is, because of that, they'll never go out and they'll never try it, because they're like, oh no, they'll just pass it. You know what I mean? It's like, if there's a big rack of guitars and there's some Squier bullets there, they'll go past them and go for the ones that kind of like, you know, that say Fender on them or Gibson on them. You know what I mean? You know, and that's not uncommon. I used to do that. You know, I did that. You know, I remember for a while just kind of like being obsessed with, like, you know, it has to say Fender on the headstock or it has to say Gibson. You know, I think we all go through that phase at some point. But it wasn't really until I kind of realised that, like, you know, in all fairness, it was kind of really... I kind of experienced it before Old Hat, but it was Old Hat that really drove it home for me. That not all expensive guitars are any good. And in all fairness, a guitar has to be judged on its merits as a guitar. You know what I mean? Regardless of what it says on the headstock, regardless of what it is. You know, if you pick it up and play it and love it, then that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Good example for that is, I say, like my Tysker Strat there, my Columbus 335, which is probably one of the best 335s I've ever played. You know, some other guitars that I've got, you know, no, the vintages, but I've got a question about that later on, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But, you know, my number one Strat, my Mexican white Strat, technically is just like a budget model Fender reissue. You know what I mean? It was, you know, I think it cost me something like $340 when I bought it, something like that. I can't actually remember exactly. It was somewhere in the 300s, and you know, that's not, you know, that's not a lot of money when you consider like some custom shop guitars are like $4.5 grand and this, that, and the other. But it was, like I said, but what I learned over years is, like I said, is that an amp, a pedal, and a guitar should just be judged on what it is. You know what I mean? If you pick it up and you love it, then it's a great guitar, amp, or pedal. You know what I mean? Regardless of what it is, if you love it and you can get what you want out of it and you like it, that's all that matters. The problem is the guitar world is kind of led by the fact of, oh, it needs to be this, it needs to be this, it needs to be this, it needs to be this. There's a lot of kind of influence kind of on people to have certain stuff, like, you know, you've got to have a valve amplifier, you've got to have this, you've got to have that, it's got to say this, it's got to say that. And I don't want to call it snobbery, because I think it's an overly harsh word, but I do feel it's kind of like there's an ignorance in that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, people wouldn't go and try like the CL120 or the Boss Katana or my Marshall MG because it's not valve. You know what I mean? They just would go, no, just straight off the bat. Like, you know, I know a lot of I've met and know a lot of guitarists who are just like, if it's not got valves in it, I'm not even gonna plug through it. But how do they know that their sound's not in that amp? How do they know they're not gonna plug into that and within 5 seconds go, oh? You know, and it was thinking about that made me go, I don't want to be that way. And I want it to be a case of, like, you know, I want to be able to pick any guitar up, any amp, and play it. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. That's fair enough. But I want to give it a chance first. You know what I mean? I don't want to just because somebody said in a review or a YouTube video or whatever that it's bad. You know, I don't want to go by their opinion. I want to go by my opinion. You know, what I feel. So that's what I did. So and that's what I do, and I think that's better. And I say, if you go the other way where you are like, no, if it doesn't have valves, or it doesn't say Fender, or it doesn't say Gibson on the headstock, or it's not boutique pedal and it's not hand wired or whatever, I think you miss out on so much. I think you're kind of narrowing your field of view to a very limited amount of things, and also limiting your amount of fun as well, and also different sounds, because you can get all sorts out of different kind of guitars, different kind of cheaper guitars, and more expensive guitars, mid-range guitars. You can get so much out of everything if you just kind of go, oh, I'm going to give that a go. You know what I mean? Like, I always recommend Squier bullets, because I think Squier bullets are amazing, but they're really, really cheap, but they're such an amazing guitar. Like, you know, they're ridiculously amazing guitars. Same thing with Boss Katanas. You know, they're not exactly expensive amps, but they're literally like one of the best amps in the world as far as I'm concerned. Same with the MG and the CR120. You know, and stuff like that. It's all about what it is. It's not about what it says, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. But like, you know, you've got to just kind of like go, well, does this make me happy? You know, and can I do what I need to do with it? And if the answer's yes, then then that's it. You know what I mean? That's all. That's literally all that matters at that point. Like I say, it doesn't matter about anything else. Like my Jag today, for instance, like my Squier Jag. You couldn't offer me an amount of money for that guitar. That is literally my favourite Jaguar I've ever played. I just love it. I love its sound, I love the way it feels, I love the way it plays, I love the way it kind of sings. It's got a certain voice to it that I've never heard in another Jaguar. It's a really kind of, I don't know what it actually is, but it's really weird, especially when you bend strings on that Jag. For some reason, it has a kind of, that's the only way I can describe kind of sound. It's like almost like somebody's screaming, especially on the high strings. You know, it's got something that I've never experienced in another Jag, and I love it. And I've always loved Jaguars, and I've always wanted a Jag that kind of like feels a certain way, and that's my Jag. You know, in all honesty, like, you know, it's like Telecasters for me. Although, you know, I do have slightly different, like, for instance, like my Telecaster is Nick's Telecaster he built for me. That's my Telecaster. I don't have a desire to have any other Telecaster in my life. I just don't need one. Jaguar wise, I have desire to have one more Jaguar just because I want a Fiesta Red Jag with matching headstock like John Frusciante's. Geek alert! But yeah, that is it. But that's the reason I want another Jag, and also I want it to be an Oswald. So you know what I mean. But it will be measured against my Squier. You know what I mean? Because I love that guitar. You know, and I say the only reason I want another Jag is because, like I say, they're like Stratocasters to me. Jaguars. They're like, if I could hoard two kinds of guitar for the rest of my life, it would be Stratocasters and Jaguars, because I just feel they're really close to each other. And they're just gorgeous. And I've said it before a million times, that if somebody said, oh, you can't play Stratocasters anymore, you're not allowed to play Strats, I would just play Jaguars. And in all fairness, I would miss the Strat horrifically. But I wouldn't be out of my comfort zone with it, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, I feel so comfy on a Jaguar. The comfort I feel on a Jag is the same comfort as I feel on a Strat. And I don't get that on any other guitar other than Strats and Jags. I just love them to bits. So anyway, but like, you know, yeah, but like I say, I mean, I'm going to have to move on in a minute because I could talk about this all day. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I've had and have that technically on paper shouldn't be good, but are. So you just got to judge things from what they are, and if they make you happy, that's all that matters. Okay, so I'm going to move on to question 2 now. I didn't charge my camera, but we should have enough battery. If we don't, I'll just have to rush. Blah, blah. Okay, so question 2. Would you ever do a video where you break down one of your solos? I don't know, would be the answer to that one. At this point in time, I don't know, because I really, really, really hate analysing my own playing, because it sends me down a rabbit hole of self-loathing, really, of like, oh, it's terrible, Dave, it's utterly rubbish, you're rubbish, you're rubbish, you're rubbish. And it triggers the black dog, and it just, you know, it causes all sorts of problems. And so I don't like to analyse my playing. And also, I don't really remember what I do, because of what I do is just on the spot and in the moment. I don't really think about what I'm doing, I just do it. So, sitting down to analyse it would be kind of weird. I say, for not necessarily for kind of like, you know, for other reasons, but like, you know, I don't like to watch myself playing. I don't like to listen to myself playing. You know what I mean? It's not for me sometimes. You know, I don't like doing it. So at this point in time, I would have to say no, just because it feels weird. I mean, invariably, it's just gonna be pentatonic. I mean, I did a video a while back now about what theory I know, and what I discussed in that video is basically that's what I do. You know what I mean? That's all I do. It's there's no rocket science to what I do playing wise, and that's the way I want it to be. Because I just want to be a feel-based player. I don't want to be kind of like overly complex with what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm quite happy to just be a pentatonic guitar player. You know what I mean? With the occasional added notes, which I don't know what they are, but that's fine by me. You know, so would I ever do a video breaking down one of my solos? I don't know, probably not, but I don't want to say definitely not. You know what I mean? Just because I don't know what the future holds. We'll see. But like I say, a lot of my guitar solos is just kind of like the Scotty Moore approach of just go for it. You know, and what will be, will be. Mistakes, warts and all. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And I like that. I like that approach. I don't necessarily like the overthinking approach. It's just not something that appeals to me in any way, shape or form. So, I don't know, maybe one day, but at this point in time, no, I'm afraid. It's not something I like doing. I don't like analysing my own play. I don't like looking at myself play. It just feels really weird. I just don't like it at all. So, so at this point in time, I'm going to say no, but definitely maybe in the future, but not sure at this point in time. If that makes any sense whatsoever. But that is where we are with that one. Like I say, it just freaks me out. I don't like looking at myself playing. I just don't like it. I don't like, I don't analyse what I do anymore. I feel no need to analyse what I do anymore. I never liked analysing. I remember doing it and just hating it. And I just want to play. I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to be able to play. And that's all I care about when it comes down to playing music is just just at that point in time, this is what happened. Warts and all. And it captures a point in time, and I love that. Like, all these intro jams that I do for every video, they're just on the spot. I'll wake up with it in my head, or I'll pick up a guitar before the video, and what comes out is what comes out, and what I play is what I play. I don't really do second takes. I'll do a second take, say for instance, like if the camera malfunctions, or the guitar goes so out of tune, or something breaks, like a pedal goes down, or something like that, or whatever. The guitar dies, or a lead breaks, or whatever like that, or I'll get interrupted. Then I'll do a second take, but most of the time, 90% of the time, it's just a one-take deal, because that's the way I want it to be. I don't want to have to go back and do it again. I want to get it right the first time, and the first take is what it is, no ifs, no buts kind of thing, and that's what it is. So would I analyse it? I don't know. I'm going to say no at this point in time, but again, we don't know what the future holds at this point in time. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, kind of thing. So yeah, hope it's answered the question. Going to move on to question 3 now. Question 3 is: Vintage V6 Icon or Squier Classic Vibe? Which one is best and why? Okay, so I would say the Squier Classic Vibe is the best out of those two. The Vintage V6 Icon is good, but it's not the Classic Vibe. The Classic Vibe is superior by far. It's got better build quality, better feel, it's just better in general. The pickups are better, the electrics are better. They feel better as well. I mean, the V6 Icons are amazing, don't get me wrong, and I have 2 sat behind me here. I love them to bits. But the newer ones, I'm hesitant. I mean, again, all the new vintages I've tried are just diabolically bad. It's as simple as that. So I can't really go out my way to say, yeah, they're amazing. So I hesitate to recommend vintage in this day and age. But I will recommend Squier Classic Vibe because they are... I mean, I've played quite a lot of Classic Vibes, and I have a hankering for one, to be honest with you. I have a bit of a crave for like a 60s Classic Vibe. I really do. I really want one. Can't afford one, but I would like one. And one day I'll get one. But they're amazing guitars, Classic Vibes. And they sound... The pickups in Classic Vibes are absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning pickups. They really are. And the necks are amazing as well. They just feel great. And they just feel really good. Vintages are a bit hit and miss. Every Classic Vibe I've picked up has been good. Every vintage I've picked up has been kind of like, it's either good or it's not. You know what I mean? So, the law of averages on that one is not great. But I would recommend the Classic Vibe any day over the V6 Icon. Although, like I said, I love the V6 Icon. Like I said, I've got 2 behind me here. And they are fantastic guitars. But the Classic Vibe is just a superior guitar. I've got to be honest. It really is. I really can't say any more about that, really. I mean, I'm sure there's quite a few people out there who prefer the vintage, but for me, if somebody gave me the option of Classic Vibe or the V6, I would go for the Classic Vibe any day of the week. They just feel great. They really do. They're just amazing, amazing guitars, and I love them to bits. I mean, I love V6s, and like I say, there's one here. That one there was my main guitar for 4 years, but, well, longer than that. What was it? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? No, 4 years. But yeah, the CV is just better. It really is. It's just something in them, but it's just like really mega, really mega. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, but that's what I would say. People of the Tube, I put this question to you. Vintage V6 Icon or Classic Vibe? Which one would you pick and why? Let us know in the comment section below. Which one would you have? Okay, so I'm going to move on to the final question of the day. Question 4, everybody. Weird. What was that? Okay, so question 4 is a difficult question to answer. So this could be an interesting answer. Okay, question 4 is, which solo do you prefer? Before the Beginning by John Frusciante or Maggot Brain by Eddie Hazel? Okay, so I love both. And in all fairness, if it wasn't for Maggot Brain, you wouldn't have Before the Beginning. Because Before the Beginning was inspired by Maggot Brain. The story goes that John Frusciante showed one of his friends Maggot Brain one night at his house. And his friend had never heard Maggot Brain. I'm getting attacked by a little fly. Go away. And, yeah, his friend had never heard Maggot Brain before. And John put Maggot Brain on for him. And, like, it blew his mind, basically. And John was like, oh, because he was working on the Empyrean at the time. And John thought, oh, I want to do kind of like a homage kind of thing in a way. And obviously, you know, from that came Before the Beginning. You know, which starts the Empyrean. And, so, go away. So without Maggot Brain, you wouldn't have Before the Beginning. So to say... But the thing is, so to say I love one or the other is really difficult to say, because, like, let's say, I love Before the Beginning, but I love Maggot Brain as well. But one influenced the other. So without the first, you wouldn't have the second. So it's hard to say exactly which one, you know, I prefer, because I love both. And, like I say, I'm aware that without one, you wouldn't have the other. So, to be honest, I mean, I just love both equally. I think Maggot Brain's got more emotional kind of quality to it, just because of the story of how Maggot Brain came to be, with, you know, Eddie Hazel being told, I'm going to sneeze, everybody. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so, yeah, because Maggot Brain's got the story, you know, Eddie Hazel was upset one morning. Yeah, he was having trouble with his girlfriend, and George Clinton said said, like, yeah, he wanted him to play like his mum had died, and told him his mum had died, and it very, very sadistic kind of thing to get that guitar solo out of him. But, like, when you listen to Maggot Brain, that's a man pouring his heart out. You know what I mean? There's nothing else. There's nothing spared. There's no emotion spared in that solo of Maggot Brain. There is nothing. You know what I mean? There is heartache, sadness, anger, aggression. Every human emotion. It's like Machine Gun by Jimi Hendrix. Every human emotion is there in that solo. And it's just a man... that is the sound of Eddie Hazel's soul. That is his soul. Maggot Brain will always be Eddie Hazel's soul. And I think... because of that, I think it's got more emotional weight than Before the Beginning. But Before the Beginning has immense emotional weight because of being a homage to Maggot Brain. But also, it's got emotional weight for me because when the Empyrean came out, I was in a really weird place in time in my life. It was a very, very strange time for me. So when I hear Before the Beginning, it takes me right back to this period of time where I was, you know, I was getting messed about, basically, by myself and somebody. One person. I was getting messed around by these kind of two things, and I took a lot of solace and a lot of comfort in that album, and that takes me right back to that period of time, and I can feel it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you kind of like remember things, you can kind of feel how you felt, or feel how the air felt at that period in time. So whenever I play Before the Beginning or Empyrean, any song from the Empyrean, like on a CD, or I play it on guitar or whatnot, it takes me right back to that period of time, and that's got a lot of emotional weight for me. When I heard Maggot Brain, I wasn't in that kind of state, but I could understand how heartbreaking the solo that he's playing is on that. But so Maggot Brain, I would say, has got more emotional weight in general, but for me, Before the Beginning has more emotional weight because of what I was going through at the time I heard it. And that's the thing. I think that's one of the beautiful things about music is, you know, it's always there. It always reminds you, and always kind of keeps you kind of comforted. Comforted. Yeah, comforted. Is that a word? I don't know if that's even a word. But, like, it always reminds you of, like, other times and stuff like that, you know, good or bad or ugly, you know, or whatever, you know, and it's always there to help you vent these things. And like I say, Before the Beginning takes me right back to that period. I mean, if I think about Before the Beginning now, or think about that period of time, I can feel the air, if that makes any sense. Like, I can feel it. I know I can feel that weight that was on me at that time, that confusion I felt, and the heartbreak I felt, and the angst and the anguish, and all what I was going through at that point in time, and the heartbreak and all that stuff I could feel at that point in time comes flooding back. So when I play Before the Beginning, it becomes very, very emotional for me. Whereas if I play Before the Beginning, like as if I'm playing it, before I played Maggot Brain, I still have a lot of emotional weight behind it because I think of a certain somebody else when I play Maggot Brain. But it's not as heavy for me as Before the Beginning. But if I listen to them on CD, like if I listen to John Frusciante and Eddie Hazel, I find Eddie Hazel's playing sadder than John's. You know, I love John's playing on Before the Beginning, and I love it to bits, I really do. But I think Eddie Hazel's playing, because of that period, that point in time when they captured that solo of what he was going through, you can feel that so much in Maggot Brain. It's just heart wrenching. It really is. Maggot Brain is heart wrenching, and it's understandable why, you know. But so it's really hard to say which one do I prefer, because I love both, but they've both got different places in my heart for different reasons. Like I say, you know, there's playing reasons and there's listening reasons, and there's also kind of like that concept of, like, you know, if it comes on. Recently, I found that I can't listen to the original solos of Scar Tissue anymore. This is something that dawned on me, a bit ago now. I was at a party here, and the original version of Scar Tissue came on, and it dawned on me that I haven't listened to the original solos for years. I know how to play them because I learnt them years ago, so they're just hardwired into me. But it dawned on me that I haven't listened to them forever. I haven't listened to that version for ages, and you know, I've done a video on why Scar Tissue means most to me, but when those solos kicked in, because I was learning them at the point when my grandma passed away, it just takes me back to that point, and it's too heavy. It's too much for me to cope with, and I can't hear them. I can't hear them. You know, I was learning the last solo when I'd got the first one, I'd got the second one, and I was halfway through learning the last solo when I got the news she'd passed away, and so to hear those solos is too much. It's far too much. So yeah. But like I say, Before the Beginning, like I say, come back to that one. Let's get off that before the waterworks start. And thinking of Before the Beginning, like I say, I mean, that takes me back to a period of time. Maggot Brain takes me back to a period of time, but it was a happier time than Before the Beginning. You know what I mean? I thought I was happy, and I was fooling myself into thinking I was happy with Before the Beginning period, because when that came out, I was in a weird place. I was getting messed around by not only me, but somebody else. And, yeah, Maggot Brain makes me think of somebody else. It's not, but Before the Beginning makes me think of a period in time and this certain somebody and that period of time. So, and when I hear it, it does that as well. Like I say, Maggot Brain, when I listen to it, it makes me think of this person. And when I listen to Before the Beginning, it makes me think of that period of time and the other person as well. So there's all these connections there. But I can't. If you were to put a gun to my head and say which one, you know, you have to pick one, I couldn't. I just couldn't. It'd just be impossible. You know. I just couldn't do it because they're both really important and meaningful to me. So to go, oh, I like this one more, would be impossible. Absolutely impossible. You know. It's like trying to decide between Scar Tissue and Don't Forget Me as my favourite Chili Peppers song. I couldn't decide which one's my favourite. I can tell you which one means the most to me, but obviously, you know, Scar Tissue. But as it comes down to my favourite Chili Peppers song between Don't Forget Me and Scar Tissue, I couldn't pick between the two of which one's my favourite Chili song. You know, much in the same way I can't pick between, like, you know, Machine Gun and Voodoo Child, not the Voodoo Child. I can't pick between them two or 1983 which is my favourite Jimmy song. Same with Rory Gallagher. I can't pick between Bad Penny, Million Miles Away, Edged in Blue. I can't pick these songs of which one's my favourite because there's so many that just mean so much to me. And same goes for Before the Beginning of Maggot Brain. I just can't go, oh, it's that one. You know what I mean? It's just impossible to me because they all mean so much to me. It'd be really, really... Well, it's not possible. It's not possible if we just go, oh, it's that one. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So, but yeah, like I say, without Maggot Brain, we wouldn't have Before the Beginning. So, thank you, Eddie Hazel. And thank you, George Clinton, Funkadelic, for that song. You know what I mean? It's just incredible. It really is. And thank you, John Frusciante, for Before the Beginning. And also, I thank John every day anyway. If without John, I wouldn't be sat here now talking to you awesome people out there. I really wouldn't, because John is my reason for playing the guitar. For wanting to play the guitar every day, I always find it in John. I will always find that in John. He just inspires me when nobody else does. It's nothing against Peter Green or Rory Gallagher or Jimi Hendrix or Mike McCready or any of those other heroes I've got, Paul Kossoff or Dave Gilmour or anybody, or Buckethead or anything like that. It's just that I always find inspiration in John, no ifs, no buts. It's always there. All I need to do is just put on one video or one song, Chili Peppers or his originals, and just be like inspired. Immediately. It just gets me straight away. And that's been that way for 18 years. You know what I mean? And it's as strong now as it was when I first heard him play Under the Bridge, on that Top of Pop special, man. I tell you. As soon as I heard him play Under the Bridge on Top of Pop special, that was me forever. It was so strong and powerful for me that it was like, I need to know who this is. I just need to know who this is. And I am obsessed with him. And I love the man. I really do. And I would love to meet him. I'd be terrified about meeting him, but I would love to meet him. I'd love to play with him at some point in my life. It won't happen. I know it won't happen. And that's okay. You know what I mean? I know it won't happen. I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? I know that John Frusciante isn't that kind of person. You know what I mean? He doesn't do the rock star thing. You know what I mean? He's not that kind of person. To play with him, you have to know him, and I don't know him. So it's like, that is what it is. But there's always a dream there. There's always that dream that one day, maybe, But like I say, he got my album. Whether he heard it or not, we'll never know. Whether he liked it or not, we'll never know. He might have used it as a frisbee on the way home. Who knows what he did with that album. It might be sat in his house, which is the scariest thought known to Dave Kind. The fact that my album might be sat in John Frusciante's house, near his 62 Strat. Which I think is my most iconic guitar in my life. John's 62 Strat, I think, is literally, above Jimmy's black and white Stratocasters and Peter Green's Les Paul and Rory Gallagher's 61 Strat. I think John's 62 Strat is literally, the most important guitar that I've ever heard. Because it's just that guitar for me. Hence why I'm obsessed with 62s. That number 62. I'm gonna get that number tattooed on me somewhere. 62, because there's something about that number. As soon as I found out John's Strat was a 62, I just became obsessed with it. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I actually really like it. I don't feel like it's a bad thing. So anyway. Either way, but like I say, that's the reasons I couldn't pick between Maggot Brain and Before the Beginning. They're both extremely special and both extremely important to me for different reasons. And there's my phone, everybody. Right on cue. But like I say, I couldn't be without either. You know what I mean? I couldn't pick one. I couldn't be without either. I love them both, and I will forever love them both. And I can't pick between the two. So I know that's not really a very good answer, and I do apologise for that in advance. I know that was a bit of a kind of a cop-out answer, and I do apologise immensely for that. I know it's not particularly brilliant as it goes answer-wise, but hopefully, it explained. I hope it explained it, kind of thing. So hopefully that was something in that. And I hope I answered your questions okay today, people of Tube. As per usual, I have the fear that I've ruined this Q&A, A&Q, and but yeah, hopefully there's something in there for you. And and this is the first A&Q of 2021, everybody. My gravy, I think. Is it? It is, yeah. First A&Q of 2021. Let's hope this year's better than last. Weirdo year. Anyway, so yeah, So I hope I made some kind of sense, and I hope the questions have been okay, and I hope I've answered them okay for you. And yeah, if you want to submit a question for A&Q Wednesday, everybody, description box below has an email link. Email me there. And yeah, I'll see you again on Friday for another vid. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, because I've got ideas of what I want the video to be. It just depends if I can get it. We will see. Okay, so anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening until Friday, and I'll see you then. Have a great one. Goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching. Haha, goodbye.